Good morning, children. Today I am present here with a new lesson from your supplementary reader. Should Wizard Hit Mummy? By John Updike. So first of all, let's know about the author. The author, John Updike, is an American essayist, critic, short story writer, and novelist. He has written more than 50 books. One of them is Marry Me, and the other one is Toward the End of Time. He is the winner of so many prizes, awards, and honors, including Pulitzer Prize and National Book Award. So let me start with introduction first. The lesson Should Wizard Hit Mummy is a story within a story. In this lesson, a father tells his daughter always a story to make her sleep. Most surprisingly, the theme of all his stories is same with a little variation. The main character of all his story starts with the same name, Rosa, and in his every story, the main character faces some problem, and to solve his problem, visits the wise owl, and the wise owl sends him to wizard, who finally solves the problem by charging some money. So, in all the stories told by the father to his daughter has the same theme with a little changes. Now, let's know about the characters of this story in brief. Joanne, who is lovingly called Jo, a 4-year-old girl. Jack, the father of Jo. Claire, the mother of Jo and the wife of Jack. Skunk, a baby creature. Skunk's mother, the mother of baby creature. Owl, the wise owl who solves the problem. Wizard, a magician. So these are the characters. Now let's see the text. In the evenings and for Saturday naps like today's, Jack told his daughter Jo a story out of his head. In all evenings and in the afternoon of Saturday, Jack used to tell his daughter Jo a story, and the story would be the creation of his own mind, would be the imagination of his own mind. So, like every Saturday, that particular Saturday also, he was going to tell his daughter a story. This custom, begun when she was 2, was itself now nearly 2 years old, and his head felt empty. This custom, this practice, this routine, he had started when his daughter was only 2 years old. And now, 2 years had passed, but still he was continuing this practice. Means now his daughter was 4 years old, but still he had continued this practice. Still he was telling the story to his daughter in every evening and in the afternoon of every Saturday. So now 2 years continuously he was telling the story. He used to create the story. So now he felt as if his mind was empty, his head was empty. Means now he had no theme, no content to tell more stories. Each new story was a slight variation of a basic tale. So now whatsoever stories he used to tell, the theme of all the stories used to be almost the same with a little changes. Why? Because now his mind had become empty, he couldn't think more. So almost all the stories told by him would be the same with little changes. A small creature usually named Roger fish, Roger squirrel, Roger chipmunk had some problem and went with it to the wise old owl. The old owl told him to go to the wizard, and the wizard performed a magic spell that solved the problem, demanding in payment a number of pennies greater than the number that Roger creature had. But in the same breath, directing the animal to a place where the extra pennies could be found. Children, here there is one phrase, in the same breath. In the same breath means immediately, at once. Now, chipmunk. Chipmunk, what is chipmunk? A kind of creature, a kind of a squirrel, burrowing ground squirrel, which is found in Western America or Asia. Not only the theme of his stories would be the same, but in almost all his stories, the main character, had the same name, starting with Roger. Roger fish, Roger squirrel, Roger chipmunk, etc. etc. Now chipmunk, as I have told you, chipmunk is a kind of a squirrel. And in his every story, the main character would face some problem. And to solve his problem, the character used to visit the wise owl. And the owl used to send the main character to wizard. And the wizard created magic spell, magic enchantment, magic captivation. And the problem was solved. But in return, in exchange for solving the problem, he charged some money. And the money which he charged was more than the amount the main character possessed. But he himself told the solution also. He himself directed him way also, that where from he could collect the extra money. Immediately he told him to go to a particular place, and from there he would collect the money. Then Rosa was so happy he played many games with other creatures and went home to his mother just in time to hear the train whistle that brought his daddy home from Boston. And then the hero of the story, the main character of the story, would be very happy. He would play with his friends for a long time, and when it was dark, it was evening, then he returned, he came back to his mother, and exactly that very time, he listened to the whistle of the train, through which his father came back from Boston. Where is children Boston? Where is Boston, children? Boston is in America. Jack described their supper and the story was over. After that, the members of the main character's family, Roger's family, used to take their supper, light evening meal together. So Jack used to describe their supper, and the story this way could end. So this used to be the end in almost all his stories. Walking his way through this scheme was especially fatiguing on Saturday because Joe never fell asleep in naps anymore, and knowing this made the ride seem futile. Futile means children, useless, worthless, in vain. Then it is nap. Nap, short sleep. Particularly in the afternoon, we take nap. So telling the story in the afternoon of Saturday to make Joe sleep was really a fatiguing work, tiring work, boring work for Jack. Why? Because Joe could never fall asleep. It was very difficult for Jack to make Joe sleep, make Joe nap in the afternoon of Saturday. So he knew today also that it was futile, it was useless to tell her a story because the story was not going to make her sleep. The little girl, not so little anymore, the bumps her feet made under the covers were halfway down the bed. Their big double bed that they let her be in her for naps and when she was sick had at last arranged herself, and from the way her fat face deep in the pillow shone in the sunlight shifting through the drawn shades, it did not seem fantastic that some magic would occur and she would take her nap like an infant of 2. Now here in this paragraph, the author has described the situation, the place where Jack used to tell the story. Now Joe was not a little child, not infant, not a little baby of 2 years old. Joe was slowly and gradually growing older and older. So when she stretched her legs under the covers, her stretched legs could reach up to the half part of the bed. Although the bed used to be big double bed, whenever she was sick or she used to listen to the story, she used to lie on the same bed. Her fat face used to be on the pillow, and the sunlight through the drawn curtain used to fall over her face, and her face used to shine in the sunlight. It did not seem fantastic that some magic would occur and she would take her nap like an infant of 2. The father knew well that by telling the story he was not going to create any magic because she was not an infant. She was not 2 years old now. So, by telling a story, it was difficult for the father to make her sleep, particularly in the afternoon. In the afternoon, she didn't want to sleep. Her brother Bobby was 2 and already asleep with his bottle. Jack asked, "Who shall the story be about today?" Her brother Bobby, who was only 2 years old, who was an infant, he was asleep with milk bottle in his mouth because it was easy to make him sleep. So at last the father asked that today about whom you want to listen to the story. Rosa, Jo squeezed her eyes shut and smiled to be thinking she was thinking. Her eyes opened. Her mother's blue. "A skunk," she said firmly. Then immediately she told Rosa, because she already knew that the starting name of the character would be Rosa. And after that, to think about the character, she shut her eyes quickly, tightly. And as soon as she thought about the character, she opened her blue eyes. Her eyes were just like her mother's eyes, blue. And then she told that today the character of the story would be a skunk. Rosa, a skunk. A new animal. They must talk about skunks at nursery school. Having a fresh hero momentarily stirred Jack to creative enthusiasm. So Jack thought, a new creature, a new hero. It means these children must be talking about these creatures in their nursery school. So father also felt excited because today he would have to tell something new about the new character. So with a new enthusiasm, he started telling the story. "All right," he said. "Once upon a time in the deep dark woods, there was a tiny little creature by the name of Roger Skunk, and he smelled very bad." Then he started telling. "Once upon a time, long, long before, long, long ago, there used to be a small creature, the baby skunk, and he smelled very bad." "Yes," Joe said. "He smelled so bad that none of the other little woodland creatures would play with him." Joe looked at him solemnly. She hadn't foreseen this. The father continued and told that the baby creature skunk smelled so badly that none of the creatures of that woodland, that forest, wanted to play with him. When Joe heard that the hero of the story was smelling bad, she didn't like that idea. Her mind was immature. She was a baby. She used to live in her own dreamland. She had never thought that the hero of the story would be smelling bad, would be neglected and ignored figure. She thought that hero would be full of all good qualities. So she had never imagined that the hero of her story would be smelling bad. So she looked at her father solemnly, seriously. Whenever he would go out to play, Jack continued with jest, remembering certain humiliations of his own childhood. All of the other tiny animals would cry, "Ah, oh, here comes Roger, a stinky skunk." The father was telling the story with enthusiasm, with excitement. While telling the story, he was correlating it with his own childhood incident. He was remembering the insult, the humiliation which he had to face during his childhood. So he told that as soon as he came to play, all his friends used to shout, "Here, Rosa skunk is coming with bad smell. Run away, go away." And they would run away, and Rosa skunk would stand there all alone, and two little round tears would fall from his eyes. The corners of Joe's mouth drooped down, and her lower lip bent forward as he traced with a forefinger along the side of her nose the course of one of Rosa skunk's tears. And all the creatures, all his friends left him, ran away, and Rosa used to stand there alone. And after that, two drops of tears used to roll down on his cheeks.